How do I outline and flood a cookie to a seamless finish? I've seen this question pop up quite a bit. So today I'll be walking you through how I get my cookies to have a seamless finish. And I understand it can be so frustrating when you're being instructed to outline a cookie in a thicker royal icing and flood it with a thinner royal icing. And the reason we're told to do this is because that thicker icing creates a really good, strong border to ensure that the flooding consistency does not overflow on the edges of the cookie. There's definitely good reason behind doing that method, but I've always found that it's just so hard to get those two different consistencies to meld in together. So we'll demonstrate that and hopefully it'll help you figure out why you're struggling. And then I'll show you my method to get that seamless look. So with my two consistencies here, I have this one that's the thicker one. And you can see it's pliable. It's a very soft, stiff icing. It kind of has the consistency of toothpaste, I would say. It holds like a very light, soft peak, but it's kind of soft and it kind of can go back into itself. Whereas this icing, this is about a 15-second count icing that it's on the thicker side of a flood, but this is the count that I would use for flooding. I'll bag up both of these icings and we will try the thicker outline with the thinner consistency flood. You can see in the areas where we stopped and started that flow of the thicker royal icing, there are some globs, tips pointing out that are already making the outline look a little rough. So let's fill it in with the thinner flood royal icing and see how this goes. All right, so you can see here that the border is still very visible. The issue that can happen is the stiffer royal icing dries and crusts over a lot faster than the thinner consistency. So as you start to blend in that edge, it can crust over and flake off into your flooded area. So that's also going to kind of not give you that seamless finish you're looking for. The only remedy that I can see to this is to bring that flood icing and kind of have it lay on top of that outline. It's maybe a little hard to see, but you kind of just bring that flood over that outline just to like cover that seam. So you can't really see that like thicker border that you created. But the downside to this is then it kind of defeats the purpose of having a border in the first place. The other reason I'm not such a fan of this method is because for every color that you want to flood your cookie with, you have to make two separate consistencies. And I've always just found that super annoying. You know, it takes extra time and it takes extra mixing and it takes an extra bag. So you're going through extra supplies. I've just always found it annoying to have to make both. So that's why I've switched to the one consistency method. That kind of solves all the problems that I just said. I think it's a lot easier of a method to use. You only have to make the one bag of royal icing, the one consistency, the one color, and it's just a lot more beginner friendly. A 15-second consistency is what I would use to flood a cookie with because it is too thick to like immediately run off of the cookie, but it's thin enough to spread and settle back into itself, giving you a really nice finish to that flooded area. So as you can see, it's kind of easier to use the same consistency too, because you don't have to make like this perfect, like dragged out outline if you don't want to. You can kind of go in sections. And if you recall with the last cookie we just made, you're not able to really do that because it gets a little clumpy and it, kind of blobs in your outline. You won't have that problem with this method. All right, so let's just fill this in. And since we don't have a different consistency on the border, it's a lot easier to just bring that icing to the edge and kind of, fill it in and move your scribe around. All I'm really doing is filling in these large gaps of icing. I'm not really worrying about the edge too much, which is nice to not have to worry about one less thing here. So as you can see, I have a beautifully flooded cookie here. There are no borders to worry about. It is a completely seamless look. It's gonna dry perfectly seamless as well, versus this cookie where we had the thicker flooded outline. You can see here it just did not dry well for us, unfortunately. And then also if we turn the cookie to the side a little bit, you can still see the line of separation. If you really want a seamless look to your cookies, then I would definitely go with the 15-second consistency for your base, for your outline and your flood, and you will have no problems at all. You'll have a perfect border, a perfect center. It's going to be totally smooth, and you won't run into any issues that you would using the other methods. So I hope this video helped you, and I will see you in the next one.